You walk into the grocery store, past the processed junk, and head straight for the artisanal, whole wheat bread. You pick up a bag of oats for your morning oatmeal. You think you are making the healthy, sustainable choice for your body. But the very staples of a healthy diet are secretly harboring a chemical that wasn't just designed to kill weeds, but was actually patented as a broad-spectrum antibiotic. Welcome to Dr. Levitas. Today we are pulling back the curtain on one of the greatest biological threats hiding in plain sight. We are talking about glyphosate. You might know it as Roundup. But this isn't just an agricultural issue, it is a fundamental human health crisis. We are exploring how this invisible chemical is quite literally unzipping your gut, stealing your minerals, and why that non-GMO label on your food is luring you into a false sense of security. It's time to protect your microbiome. Please take a second to like the video and leave a comment. Your engagement is a huge help to the channel. Let's start at the very beginning of the food chain. What is glyphosate, and why is it sprayed on wheat and oats right before harvest? Most people believe that glyphosate is simply a weed killer. They assume it's used early in the farming process to stop weeds from choking out the crops, and by the time the food reaches our plates, the chemical is long gone. But that is not the reality for grains like wheat, oats, and legumes. In conventional farming, weather is unpredictable. Farmers need their crops to dry out evenly so they can be harvested all at once without the machinery jamming. To achieve this, they use a process called desiccation. Just days before the harvest, they spray the entire field of wheat or oats with glyphosate. The chemical effectively kills the crop, forcing it to dry out rapidly and uniformly. Because this is done right at the end of the plant's life cycle, the glyphosate is absorbed directly into the core of the grain. It doesn't wash off. It isn't neutralized by baking or cooking. When you eat a bowl of conventional oatmeal or a slice of standard whole wheat bread, you are directly ingesting the chemical residue of that harvest. Now, you might have heard the industry defense. Glyphosate is safe for humans because it acts on a biological pathway that humans don't even have. But here is the fatal flaw in that argument. How does this chemical specifically block the Shikimate pathway in gut bacteria, starving them of essential amino acids? The industry is technically right about one thing: human cells do not possess the Shikimate pathway. This pathway is a biological engine used by plants to create the amino acids they need to survive. Glyphosate works by blocking this engine, starving the weed to death. But guess what else relies entirely on the Shikimate pathway? Your gut microbiome. The trillions of symbiotic bacteria living in your digestive tract. The organisms responsible for your immune system, your serotonin production, and your digestion use this exact same pathway. In fact, glyphosate was originally patented in the early 2000s as a broad-spectrum antibiotic. A groundbreaking 2023 review in the Journal of Microbiome Research demonstrated that even low, environmental doses of glyphosate aggressively target and kill beneficial bacteria like bifidobacteria and lactobacillus, while allowing pathogenic, disease-causing bacteria to thrive. It starves your good bacteria of aromatic amino acids like tryptophan and tyrosine, which are the fundamental building blocks of your mood-regulating neurotransmitters. You aren't just eating a pesticide. You are swallowing a daily, low-dose antibiotic that is clear-cutting your internal ecosystem. The destruction of your friendly bacteria is only the first phase. The physical damage to the tissue itself is where the systemic health crisis begins. Why does glyphosate directly trigger the release of zonulin, instantly unzipping the tight junctions of your gut to create leaky gut? Your intestinal lining is only one cell thick. It is a delicate, highly intelligent border wall. The cells are glued together by proteins called tight junctions, which ensure that only fully digested nutrients pass into your bloodstream, while keeping toxins and undigested food particles out. When glyphosate hits this delicate lining, it acts as a severe chemical irritant. Clinical gastroenterology studies, including highly referenced work from 2024, show that exposure to glyphosate forces the intestinal cells to rapidly produce a protein called zonulin. Zonulin is the biological key that unlocks the doors between your cells. It literally unzips the tight junctions. This creates intestinal permeability, commonly known as leaky gut. When those doors are left wide open, foreign proteins, environmental toxins, and bad bacteria flood directly into your bloodstream. Your immune system sees this flood and launches a massive, systemic inflammatory attack. This is the root cause of the chronic, low-grade inflammation that drives autoimmune conditions, brain fog, and chronic fatigue. But the sinister nature of this chemical doesn't stop at the gut lining. We must look at its original chemical patent. How does glyphosate act as a chelator, binding to essential minerals in your food so you can't absorb them? Long before it was used as an herbicide, glyphosate was patented in 1964 as an industrial pipe descaler. Its job was to bind to calcium, magnesium, and heavy metals to clean out commercial boilers. This chemical process is called chelation, which comes from the Greek word for claw. When you eat a meal containing glyphosate, that chemical claw does exactly what it was designed to do. It aggressively grabs onto the positively charged minerals in your digestive tract, specifically magnesium, zinc, iron, and calcium. Once the glyphosate forms a cage around these minerals, your body can no longer absorb them. You could be eating the most nutrient-dense, meticulously prepared diet on the planet, but if that food is laced with glyphosate, you will simply excrete the minerals. You become overfed but deeply, biologically undernourished. This massive mineral depletion is a primary driver behind the modern epidemics of anxiety, poor sleep, and compromised immunity. This brings us to a dietary phenomenon that has baffled the world over the last 20 years. What is the connection between the rise of gluten intolerance and the increased use of this chemical? We are constantly told that gluten is the enemy, and millions of people have abandoned wheat entirely. But humanity has been cultivating and eating wheat for thousands of years without widespread issues. So why, suddenly, in the late 1990s and 2000s, did an entire generation become radically intolerant to bread? The answer is hiding in the timeline. The exponential rise in celiac disease and non-celiac gluten sensitivity perfectly mirrors the introduction and widespread use of glyphosate as a pre-harvest desiccant on wheat and GMO products. When you combine a protein like gluten, which is already difficult to digest, with a chemical that unzips your gut lining and destroys the bacteria needed to break down that protein, you create a perfect storm for food allergies. Many people who travel to Europe, where glyphosate use is heavily restricted or banned, find that they can eat the pasta and bread there without any bloating, brain fog, or joint pain. The main villain is the modern chemical sprayed upon it, but let's not forget about the damaging proteins of gluten. So, we try to protect ourselves by reading labels. But the food industry is masterfully deceptive. Why are products labeled non-GMO not necessarily free of glyphosate? This is one of the most dangerous loopholes in modern nutrition. When consumers see the non-GMO verified butterfly label, they assume the food is clean, pure, and free of pesticides. But non-GMO simply means the genetics of the seed have not been spliced in a laboratory. Certain crops, like corn and soy, are genetically modified to be Roundup ready, meaning they can be sprayed while they are growing and not die. But remember our earlier discussion, crops like wheat, oats, and chickpeas might not be genetically modified. They may be naturally non-GMO. Yet, they are still drenched in glyphosate at the very end of their life as a drying agent. You can buy a premium, expensive box of non-GMO oat milk or cereal, and it can still contain extraordinarily high levels of this chemical. If you want to protect your gut, you must look beyond the non-GMO label. You must look for certified organic, or ideally, the specific certification that says glyphosate residue-free. It is easy to feel overwhelmed by this invisible threat. But human biology is incredibly resilient when given the right tools. How can consuming fulvic and humic acids help bind and pull this chemical out of your tissues? Because glyphosate is deeply water-soluble, it can infiltrate deep into our tissues, organs, and even cross the blood-brain barrier. To get it out, we have to look to the very earth that it destroys. Fulvic and humic acids are ancient, highly complex organic compounds found in pristine, unpolluted soil and compost. These soil-based compounds are nature's ultimate detoxifiers. According to a 2025 clinical review in Environmental Toxicology and Pharmacology, fulvic and humic acids have a highly negative ionic charge. They act like a biological sponge or magnet. When consumed as a high-quality supplement, they travel through your digestive tract and bind aggressively to environmental toxins, including glyphosate, neutralizing them so they can be safely excreted from the body. Furthermore, these compounds help to seal the tight junctions of the gut and deliver trace minerals back into the cells. By incorporating these ancient soil derivatives into your routine, you are actively sweeping the chemical debris out of your system and rebuilding the armor of your microbiome. Here is the doctor's verdict: organic matters. We live in a world where convenience has often been prioritized over our cellular health. The presence of glyphosate in our food supply is a daunting reality, but it does not have to be your destiny. Your body is not a dumping ground, it is a brilliant, regenerative ecosystem. By becoming a conscious consumer, choosing organic when it matters most, supporting your gut barrier, and utilizing the power of nature's detoxifiers, you can reclaim your vitality. You don't have to live with the brain fog, the bloating, or the exhaustion. You have the power to heal the web of your microbiome and thrive. I want to hear from you. Are you going to start checking your labels for more than just non-GMO? Let's start the conversation in the comments below. Keep asking questions, stay resilient, and I'll see you in the next one. Watch this video suggestion, it was especially picked for you. Please share, comment, like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Thank you, it helps a ton with the algorithm. Remain tuned for future videos and keep growing.